off with that because you've given some brilliant answers so far, so I won't ask you to delve deeper.
No.
Talk about your dad's bikes. Have you managed to keep any of them, or have they been?
Yes,
have they been
absolutely.
Anywhere,
I've got. I need to get all of this right now. I've got them lined up, so I'll put them into order. There's a parachute bike which I got when I was 4 years old. It was one of those things that you would throw out an aeroplane with a parachute attached to it, out to arm them, something like that. Soldier would jump on it, fold the handlebars up, turn the pedal on, ride it until it ran out of fuel, and then jump off and go and shoot some people. Now, my dad got one of those, chopped the handlebars down, lowered the seat on it, and gave it to me at 4 years old. So that was my 4th birthday. So that was it wasn't my introduction to bikes, because I had been running around sitting on the petrol tank and things of other people's bikes and learning how to ride them. But that was my first ever bike. So I've still got it. Wow. Came from Stuart and Ian Thompson, who still has the car breakers scrapyard in Gala Shields. I can remember going to Selkirk to go and collect this bike. Put it in the back of the car and went back to Earlston. My dad had a bit of work to do on it to modify it to get it to all fit a 4-year-old. So the hacksaw was out, a few modifications on it, and that's what I learned to ride a bike on. So I've still got that. Then I've got a 1927 350 BSA, which was my dad's very first bike, which he had when he was 16. Still got the 500 International Norton that my brother raced. I've still got the 500 Rudge that I raced. I've still got another couple of International Nortons. One is a road-going one. I've taken out, raised some money did some charity work for the Blind Veterans Society down in Brighton, and did a charity run from Morton-on-the-Marsh down to Brighton with one of the old Nortons, and had a megaphone on it.
That must have been fun.
They heard it coming from a long way, and a lot of the old boys down there loved it, because my wife will take the mickey out of me because I start making bike noises and saying what it did with all the gear changes, and it's going brrr, brrr. It's just like this big 500 Norton. And a lot of these old boys down there loved that. They thought it was great. So I've still got a lot of the old Norton, and the bikes that mean something to me. As I said, it's got history behind them. As I said, either things that my dad's dragged out a bog somewhere and has tidied them up, done them, and they all run. Every one of them runs.
All of them still go.
All of them still go. And there was one of the Nortons, I think, a couple of years ago. It hadn't run for 25 years. It had just been in the shed, took it out, put some fresh petrol in it, gave it a bit of a turnover, pumped some fresh oil through it, gave it a shove, and away it went. Now, could you do that with something nowadays? It just wouldn't happen. It just wouldn't. So build quality and engineering and all of the rest of it, it's the good stuff. But they weigh an absolute ton. They do. I think they're probably maybe about 300 kilos, something like that, some of these big bikes. And some of the stuff that I'm racing now is maybe about 120.
I was going to say, that's heavier than most cars now, 300 kilos.
Almost, yeah. As you said, you did not want one of them landing on top of you.
You didn't want one going in the back of you either, that's for sure.
Definitely not. No. Definitely not. So bike racing, as I said, career, where did it go? As I said, Alan Duffus Motorcycles, and where are they? Kirkcaldy, Glenrothes. He had a lot of shops round about. Now, Alan, I think he was, 10, 12 times Scottish motorcycle racing champion. I was standing talking to him one day at Knockhill, and I don't know, he'd fallen off and done something else, but he couldn't ride the bike. And a conversation between him and I, where I had said, give the bike to my brother. I said, give him a go on it. So he did. And Douglas went out on this 350 Yamaha and just annihilated that. The only way to describe it was that he annihilated the field. Sure. And for the first year that he was on that bike, I would have said it didn't matter whether it was an international race at Donington, Silverstone, Brands Hatch, Brands, or wherever. If he finished, he would win. But if he didn't finish, unfortunately, there was always a lot of carnage. He hadn't quite worked out how to stay on the thing.
I was going to say, when you said if, I was like, that implies that it wasn't always the case.
It certainly wasn't, no. And as I said, he destroyed a lot of parts and bits and pieces on that bike, but won the Scottish Championship on it. Beat a lot of world-class people at some of the big international races. So Alan, in his infinite wisdom, had thought, I'll give him a 750 to race as well. And he probably took the 750 a lot better than he did to the smaller bike.
Really?
And absolutely just flew on this 750 Yamaha. And when it was all right and whatever, completely untouchable, as I said. And I would describe it as it was scary to watch how fast this thing was. As I said, producing, I remember it's about 150 brake horsepower on little narrow skinny tires back in the 80s. And as I said, but it was just phenomenally fast. These things would do 200 mile an hour back then. And it was just, there was a very small group of people that were really able to ride them to their max, and he was one of them for sure. And Alan then had decided, he gave me a TZ125 Yamaha, which I raced and managed to win the 125 Scottish Championship on, and then he had helped me out with a 250 as well. I always liked the smaller, less powerful bikes, where my brother, for sure, he liked the thing that would rip your arms off, and yeah, they were animals. That's the only way to describe them. Absolute animals. And it was only the brave of the brave that really raced them that hard.
So I want to ask you quickly, the two bikes you said you still had your brother's Norton, the 500, and
yes,
500 Rochester. Is that the two from that season where you were going head to head?
Yes,
the two exact
absolutely.
Bikes?
Still got them. Still got them.
Wow, that's incredible.
So.
You definitely need to get them somewhere for people to see, and then find someone must have an old video clip of it kicking about somewhere.
I think there is. I think that there's definitely stuff out there on YouTube of me racing in the 1980s at Donington and places like that, and ITV World of Sport Superbike stuff and things. But I'm sure there's some of the older historians that like to follow some of the classic bike stuff and things. Got many's a picture and 8mm film from Knockhill that they'll have taken back in the day and stuff and things. So I have seen clips of it here and there, definitely. So no, still got them.
Wow.